This is that window where coaches, where GMs are literally crossing their fingers and holding their breath collectively and praying that they can get to week one healthy, that they can get through the final preseason game healthy, that they can get through some of these ramped up practices as they get ready for game conditions healthy. The Ravens had a scare today. Lamar Jackson had to exit practice early in Baltimore with what the team called a foot injury. Evidently, he got stepped on. Rest easy. The Ravens say Lamar Jackson is okay, and it's not going to be Cooper Rush week one against the Bills. However, there is legitimate concern right now this evening as we go on the air at 6:30 about Kaleb McGary, the starting right tackle in Atlanta. He re-signed over the summer, a 2-year contract worth $30 million. Not huge money, but he's a reliable right tackle in his 7th season. But most importantly, and McGary got carted off today, Charles, most importantly, he is the blindside protector for a left-handed quarterback. You already have Storm Norton out, the former Charger, who's kind of their swing guy for 6 to 8 weeks with an ankle injury. For a team that is going to rely on its offense, for a team that hasn't sacked the quarterback defensively in, I believe, a decade, and I know they address that side of the ball as well, you need to protect Michael Penix. This is one of those under-the-radar, very significant injury stories.
Oh yeah, it's a big one, and I think it's losing both McGary and Storm Norton, because Norton has been their swing tackle for a couple of years now, and McGary, first round pick, he was in the same draft as Chris Lindstrom when Thomas Dimitroff picked both those guys in the first round. So I mean that's a guy who's been an integral part of their offense for the last few years. And last year, what kind of made the Falcons offense functional until it wasn't, or what helped it, was they had amazing offensive line continuity. I mean, the only player who really missed big time was Drew Dahlman, and then they had Ryan Newsel come in and he played well, and then Drew Dahlman came right back in. So when you can have one of those years where like basically all 5 of your offensive linemen are playing together for the whole season, that's really hard to pull off. And it was a big reason why they were able to run the ball so well, and why they had pretty good pass protection for most of the year too. So that's something that you would have loved to keep intact coming into Michael Penix's first year as a full-time starter, but unfortunately they got bit by the injury bug. And like you said, this is big because Kaleb McGary is the blindside protector for a left-handed quarterback like Michael Penix. So, man, it's tough because you don't want to get into a spot where you want to say like, oh, one O-line injury could tank the whole offense, but you're looking at like possibly your third-string tackle starting for the first few games of the season. And the game that I circled was the game against the 49ers, where we know Nick Bosa loves to rush off that left edge, and I'm sure that they will try to match him up against whoever the worst tackle is. So it's a big concern. It's a pretty big concern for the Falcons, especially, like you said, for a team that's going to rely on their offense. And if they want to make the most of the Jalen Carter and James Pierce picks, they're going to need to score points so they can get leagues, so that those guys can pin their ears back and rush the passer. So the margin for error just got a little bit tougher for Michael Penix, which is obviously not what you want to see, considering how little football he's played at the NFL level.
And you have Jalen Walker on the defensive side, the first-round pick, nursing a groin injury, so they're trying to get him back on the field as well. You look at the first 2 weeks, Charles, I know you're a Falcons fan at heart here. You look at the first 2 weeks, no worries. It's only Todd Bowles and Brian Flores going after your quarterback.
Yeah, that's tough. That's really tough. I mean, it's never going to be easy. It's the NFL, and it's never easy for the Falcons, and they're never easy on their fans. I mean, I just want them to just look like functional, because I thought like you have a cast here around Michael Penix that should be able to score points. Maybe Kyle Pitts may not be the guy that we thought he was, but even as like the third or fourth option in this offense is pretty good behind guys like Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Darnell Mooney when he's healthy. So I feel like why the fan base is excited about this year, but with this injury and just Michael Penix's lack of experience, I think we just got to take things slow. The first couple games are going to be tough. We're going to be on national television week 2 against the Vikings, so I'm sure the reactions will be crazy if they have a bad game. You just got to take this game by game, week by week, and don't let the overreactions kill you. It's going to be a long season.
No, not yet. Yeah, no. Of course, there is no need to overreact after week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've said forever, and Frank Schwab and I got into this last week when he was trying to tell me Browns-Bengals is an awful game week 1. And I'm like, come on, dude. Every game week 1 is a good game. And I really do mean that. because the storylines, the off-season storylines, all the moves, the draft picks, the free agent signings, the injuries, the drama, all of it for every team is on display week one. Like, all of that is now behind you. Time to play a game and time to see what you have. And any team can win week one. Look last year at the Patriots stunning the Bengals week one. Obviously, the Patriots were still in the conversation for the number one overall pick by the end of the year. But they were able to beat the Bengals week number one. I'm so excited for Cam Ward at Denver week one. Are they going to win? Unlikely, but heck, I'm down to see it. Right? They're all good week one games. And as you said, there will be inevitably ridiculous and comical overreaction week one, more so than any other week on the calendar, because we're so ready to pounce on anything. We're so desperate for anything. That's why 5.1 million people watch the Commanders and the 5.1 watched the Bills and the Bears on Sunday night in a game that was 38-0, the biggest shutout in the preseason in 2 years. And 5.1 million people watched it. So yeah, week one, it's going to be the same deal. Let's get some other injury news. I'm in Cleveland right now. I was at Browns practice today, and we're in now game week reporting protocols, so there's only so much I can say. But I can tell you, because Kevin Stefanski talked about it afterwards, that Shedeur Sanders was back today doing some individual work. It's Joe Flacco with the ones, obviously. But it was good to see, after an oblique injury, Shedeur out there actually throwing the football with a helmet on, with pads on. And the Browns have posted on social a nice deep ball he threw down the left sideline that the free agent rookie Kaleb McDonald made a nice over-the-shoulder catch on against the sideline. So there's that. And it's notable because when you hear of oblique injuries, especially let's talk baseball, a guy gets an oblique injury in baseball, you're sometimes out 6 weeks. It's a rotational injury. You can't swing a bat. The idea that a quarterback with an oblique injury is already back throwing 30-yard fades just a few days later is good news, certainly, for the Browns. Kenny Pickett did 11 on 11s yesterday. That was the first time he had done 11 on 11s. Team stuff for 3 weeks since his hamstring injury. But he really didn't do anything today. Off to the side, through some individuals. And that was part of the plan, Stefanski said. There was no setback because Pickett isn't going to play Saturday in the preseason finale. So because it was more game rep stuff today, no need to really overwork Kenny Pickett. So behind Flacco, hopefully, fingers crossed, you get to see both of the rookies come Saturday. But the big headline here, again, speaking of injuries, Denzel Ward, Kevin Stefanski doesn't give many details, but seemed to suggest it's not a serious injury after Ward left practice on Tuesday, falling on his shoulder. Speaking of injuries, they are holding their breath in Minnesota because after my friend Tom Pelissero reported this morning the Vikings are looking at the veteran free agent market with Justin Jefferson nursing a hamstring injury. Charles, Jordan Addison and Ty Felton both had to leave practice today. They kind of ramped up the intensity in Minneapolis today. It said it would be kind of like a scrimmage. Addison allegedly, quote, jammed something, and Felton injured his arm with a, for all intents and purposes, rookie quarterback now taken over in JJ McCarthy. The last thing Kevin O'Connell needs is no one to catch the football at wide receiver.
Yeah, at least you still got Justin Jefferson. So that's a plus.
Coming back from a hammy, Justin Jefferson.
Coming back from a hammy, yes. He is still alive and on the field. Hopefully these injuries aren't serious because what the whole structure of this Vikings season has been like the idea that, okay, this is built. We just need JJ McCarthy to come in and be a productive quarterback, which is, it's tough sledding. This is a guy who has only played in preseason games, had to sit out all last year with the meniscus injury. So it's not even like the same thing as Michael Penix. Like, we are actually like working with the team every single day, and eventually you get to start. Like, you're kind of starting from scratch, at least from just like a physical standpoint of getting used to the NFL season. So it would be the best for this offense to be at 100% firepower when they open the season, because they've already upgraded the offensive line. They spent a lot of money in draft picks on center, left guard, and right guard to upgrade those spots. They have 2 good tackles in Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill. Just talk Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson's a solid tight end. Jordan Addison, when he's healthy, is one of the best wide receiver 2s in the league. It's set up for you to have a really explosive year, but you kind of have to like throttle your expectations a little bit if these guys are going to be injured coming into the season, because this is going to be JJ McCarthy's first shot as an NFL starter in real games. And even as excited as people are for him, and he's got some tools and obviously won a lot of games at Michigan, it takes a team effort and he still needs time to get acclimated. So I would say, like, if these kind of linger, that's a big deal for the start of the season, because ultimately this team, they still have Super Bowl aspirations. I know that the season kind of fell apart for them towards the end last year, and then they had that terrible playoff game against the Rams. But when you look at the majority of the season, they had a really good offense. They had one of the best defenses in the league, and a lot of those guys come back. The entire coaching staff's come back. So, yeah, there's expectation, but they're going to need to be at full strength because they are playing what is essentially a rookie quarterback.
And going back to Tom's initial report, maybe they look to trade for a veteran wide receiver. That was before the injuries, and they appear to be minor on the practice field today. Browns made a trade with the Jets. Jawan Briggs, a seventh-round pick a year ago, defensive tackle. It's just an exchange of late-round draft picks today. I like Jawan. He made some plays late in the year. Jets may have a good one there, but it's a numbers game, and we can unpack this a little bit more later. As we sit here on a Wednesday, cutdown day is next Tuesday. And most coaches know before the final preseason game who's going to make the roster, maybe one or two spots, a couple of injuries might be variables here. And some coaches start making their cuts on Sunday morning. This is a 4 or 5 day window here where trades are made, where the Jets go, we need defensive tackle help. You might cut that guy. We'll take him off your hands. As a matter of fact, I mean, speak of the devil here. As we sit here, Tom Pelissero, good friend at NFL Network, with fantastic-looking hair, by the way, now for the 2025 season, Charles, just tweets that the Vikings are sending defensive tackle Harrison Phillips, the veteran, to the Jets for a 2026 sixth-round pick and a swap of picks in 2027. So the Jets make two deals today for players on other teams, the Browns and the Vikings, that likely were on the chopping block at the deadline, right? The cut-down deadline, for late round picks. You're going to see a whole bunch of these in the next 5 days.